So this is Darren Cioffi. Welcome back to
Thanks,
Industrial
man.
Cigar Company.
Thank you.
I say welcome back because you've been here a number of times and for a number of years.
It's literally about to the day 2 years since I first came in that door, maybe even to the day. This could be our 2-year anniversary of knowing each other.
Well,
anyway. So happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you as well. For those of this is ICCU, so we're going to speak through a little bit. I don't want any of this really coming from me, but more so understanding who you are, what your company is, what your brand is, and let's just learn. So if we could kind of talk to us about kind of your journey into the cigar world, because I know there's such a unique, kind of path that other people haven't taken. So, what is your story?
To give you the brief history lesson, I think today they say something like 4% of people smoke cigars, and that includes the person who has one at Christmas time. Turn of the century, it was like 70–80% of men were smoking. The American consumer at the time was not as, generally speaking, literate as they are today, right? So you can look up the percentage per year of how many people were literate and illiterate in the United States, and this was a big segment of the population. So cigar smoking extremely popular. Every great corner in every city was either a United Cigar Store or some other cigar store. Every town had a plethora of local producers, and this sometimes illiterate worker would go into the shop, look at the big counter of open cigar boxes, and the one single tool that the manufacturer had to communicate with the buyer was that inner lid label, right? It wasn't like today where you have me selling cigars in Norway and Frisco. It was just who was the local guy.
So then you saw that, and as a teenager, you walked in and you were just engulfed by this.
Yeah, I went to the shop, and the guy had all kinds of stuff. It was a real mess, but he had a lot of different product labels, like bottle labels, fruit crate labels, things, but he had cigar labels laying around, and I'm looking at them thinking, man, these are 100 years old. The subject matters are wonderful. The printing is off the charts. There's got to be something here. And I wasn't really dealing in paper then. I was dealing in three-dimensional stuff, but I ended up buying a few boxes of labels from the guy because I just felt like there was something. And I started selling them in New York. And my pricing structure was really juvenile, and I didn't know much about it, but I just kept buying them and taking all the money I would make in the city and go look for more labels. This is the Cochon Blanc, just for visual purposes. It's this tapered cigar. The Vanquier is a 56 by 6.5. And the current blend of the Vanquier for me is the best that it's been in years. It's really hitting the spot. It's got that rich sweetness like a dried fruit. It's got the leather, it's got some earthiness to it. It has that still the hint of acidity to balance things out. It's been a gorgeous smoke, but we'll see what it can do in the coming year against the Cochon Blanc.
You do have a couple kind of different approaches within your different series. One, the Gold Band series. I don't know if you could kind of touch on what that is.
So we have this crazy aviator blending process, right? We're trying all these things all the time. We're trying new tobacco, we're tweaking the blends. Surprising things happen. We sometimes end up with blends that are really interesting, really engaging, but they just don't quite fit in the spirit of the Aviator series, but they're great. Sometimes also we end up with small groups of tobacco where, okay, we're willing to make changes, but if we can only make 1,000 cigars or 500 cigars, then there's no point in productionizing it. So we came up with this Gold Band project, and what it is we always make a 6x50, but they change, unlike Aviators, which change with a purpose in a certain wheelhouse. These will change dynamically. We can make something spectacular in this format. We'll put it out even if it's only a few hundred cigars. So if you light up a Gold Band, expect something that's awesome, but that can be different every time you smoke it. And then we priced it so that the consumer gets a bit of a value too. So it's a 6x50, and it's at about the same retail price as an Envoy, which is the Robusto and the Aviator. So Gold Band gives you a unique, vibrant experience from the same factory as Aviator series, but it's also made for guys like me that get bored. I get bored even of smoking my own stuff, and due to the dynamic nature of it, it's a way to keep you excited and interested.
And then on the other side of things, you have the Accomplice series.
Accomplice, we wanted to have a cigar that was a bit more of an everyday smoke, and the first cigar that we came up with is the Accomplice Classic. The Classic is the one with the white band. Accomplice, you can tell, they all have these little satin bands on them. And
in the box you have a pocket
yeah, we
square.
put pocket squares that match in the box. So if you buy a box, you get a pocket square. The Robusto's the house cigar of the Curia Club in Helsinki. That's why it has the second band. But this cigar has been just a killer. I mean, it's primarily in the European market where it's up against Cubans, and we have one shop in Eastern Europe where not only is it the #1 selling cigar, I think they said that Arroyo de Monterrey Epicure was, it sells like a third of what this cigar sells. You know,
Wow.
it's just been a killer everywhere it goes. Cigar Journal had given it a 92. Cigar Journal 92 is like a...
What do you think of that cigar?
For me, it's...
I'm trying to pin you here.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's layered, but I mean, I rarely need an everyday cigar. What I smoke more often is the Accomplice Connecticut, which is the exact same filler and binder, only it uses a 5-year-old Connecticut wrapper. And that's why sometimes people say, well, that's not a Connecticut. You know, with a lot of age, the wrapper gets a little bit darker. And this Connecticut, you know, just like I make Maduros for people who want to know what a real Maduro can be, this is a Connecticut for people who don't like Connecticut's. Yes, it's a softer cigar, but it's layered, it's complex, it gives you so much. I put this Connecticut up against a lot of far more expensive cigars any day of the week. It's a gorgeous, like late morning, first cigar of the day, but still gives you layers and so much to enjoy.
Yeah, and that's what we see within there. And then there are a couple other Accomplices
And
that you run.
I should also note, like, you know, our goal was to make this a more approachable price point, have a more approachable price point. And so one thing we did was the binder is the same Ecuadorian Corojo wrapper we use on the core aviators. So after we make Cochon Volant, for example, any leaf that's not quite perfect enough for wrapper, that has some blemishes, we then use as the binder on the white band and the blue band. So you get some of those same, you know, super expensive flavors, but at a price point that's more everyday.
And then within there, you also have one cigar that really sold me on the line in particular, which is that purple.
The purple band comes from a different factory. It comes from William Ventura, and yeah, it's just a beautiful. It's a Corojo as well, but different wrapper, and that's the only blend that they do for me, and it's just we've perfected it, and it's gorgeous.
It really is fantastic.
It's a weird one too. I mean, it has this hickory smoke and the sweetness, and I find that the people that like the purple band love the purple band. Like, it's not for everyone, but those that like it are just crazy fanatics about it.
So, and then kind of to finalize that and kind of round it out, you have the green label Maduro.
Yeah. So the green label, incidentally, the band is changing. It's going to be a little bit darker in future productions. We wanted, the first Vitola we launched was the Nightstick, the 7x58. We wanted a cigar that was a big cigar for people who don't like big cigars, and a Maduro for people who either don't necessarily smoke Maduros or who are a Maduro purist, right? Yes, it's big and dark, but if you close your eyes, that's not, you know, the type of consumer that's typically attracted to a cigar like this either wants something that's looks tough but it's actually very light, or they want something that's super spicy and crazy, and we did neither of those things. This is a natural Maduro. The wrapper is not pressed or dyed or oiled or anything like that, and it's the experience is rich and balanced. So it's not a bunch of spice, it's not harsh for the sake of being Maduro, it's not light for the sake of tricking the consumer, or for the consumer to trick himself, in a sense. It's you know, it's medium bodied, medium plus flavor wise, like similar to Aviators, but it gives you baking spices, it gives you sweetness that builds. It's also a cigar that fights you back. Like, I'm a guy that puffs a lot, I smoke quickly, so I have a tendency to heat up cigars. This green band in particular, if I see a guy is abusing cigars, this is a perfect smoke for him. Like, if I'm not paying attention, I'm that guy. And, you know, if I puff too much, it fights me back, it burns well, it doesn't heat up, and it's rich right to the end.
It's a great product line that does extremely well here. Your story is awesome. Your personality is second to none, and well, depending on, you know, definitely top two at the table. But with that, I'm very excited to be a part of your growth and for you to be a part of our growth as we continue to grow. You do our house stick for us.
You guys have been instrumental in the United States, you know, and I couldn't ask for better partners at this stage of our development.
Well,
really.
and I look forward to continuing to grow that and friendship, partnership,
Absolutely.
relationship all the way through. So thank you for being here and for doing what you do.